Jaylen Brown signed the richest contract in NBA history. This became public a few days ago, if not about a week ago. His contract is $304 million dollars over the next 5 years. So if you did the math, that comes out to $60 million dollars a year. But his contract isn't just 60 mil a year. It's going to be one of those that kind of starts out low, and then every year it kind of increases over time. So I think his first year is going to be somewhere in the 30s, and then the year after that's going to be somewhere in the 40s, and it keeps increasing. And then that last year of his contract, the fifth year, he's going to be making really close to 70 million that year, which is insane. He was asked what he plans to do with this money, and he said that he wants to give back to Boston. He said he wants to start a project called Black Wall Street, and he wants to use it to invest in the community and to bridge the wealth gap. I think this is a good answer, especially for somebody who's been given that big of a paycheck. You know, you never want to just come out and say, you're going to make some impulse purchases or whatever. He made it really clear that he wants to give his loyalty to Boston, not just on the court, but off the court as well, with these community projects and stuff like that. And I think that's a great answer. I've been following this offseason, the trade talks and everything a little bit. And one thing I've noticed is that the NBA has had some pretty big contracts, being given out. So I'm going to list off a few. So Sabonis got signed to $217 million over 5 years. So his annual is going to be $43.4 million. Anthony Edwards got a rookie extension, so he's going to be making $207 million over 5 years, making his annual $41.4 million. And then LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, and Desmond Bane, they all got the same thing. They're going to be making $41.4 million for the next 5 years. And then I think Fred VanVleet is going to make a little bit more than that. He's going to make 43, or even more than 43 million for the next 3 years. And I wonder, where is all this money coming from? I mean, I know that NBA is, a huge corporation. I know they have TV deals and fans and merch and people coming in to watch and buy tickets. So I know a whole lot of money is going into the NBA. But prior to this year, being in the 40 millions a year was pretty much where your all-stars were. Not even all-stars, like that's where the best of the best would be, And I think Steph Curry had the highest contract prior to this, and he was making, I think, 50 million. I think he's still on that contract now, 50 million a year. I might be a little bit wrong, but I wonder, where is this money coming from? Because now a lot of players on a lot of teams, and a lot of these guys aren't even the best player on that team, are making so much more than they normally should. I didn't think LaMelo Ball would make 41 million a year, not right now at least. I know he's really good, and I figured that they'd give him a shorter contract, making more than he did as a rookie, and then over time give him one of these like max deals. But these guys are all getting paid. This money's coming from somewhere. Jaylen Brown is a good player. He's an all-star, but is he $60 million a year type of player? That's the question that a lot of people have as well. I know that during last year, and especially during the playoffs, so many people were commenting on the fact that he can't dribble properly. He loses the ball a lot. His turnover rates are way too high. Is he 60 million a year good? Is he that good? And also, he's not even the number one player on his team. So the fact that he got a contract this big is just mind-boggling to me. I'm not hating. I'm happy for him, but it does make me wonder, like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? He's not the best player in his team. He might not even be the top 10 player in the NBA, but he's getting paid as if he's the number one player in the NBA. If they're paying people based on how good they are, how high they rank, I don't think Jaylen is in the top 10. Maybe he is. It depends on how you rate it. But he has the highest paying contract. So right now, if the NBA is planning on paying people a lot of money, then I'm going to suspect that a lot more contracts are going to go out. I'm thinking that some bigger deals are going to go out too, because there's a whole lot of players that rank above him. So whenever it's their turn in free agency, they're going to be asking for so much more money than you would expect. So I'm looking forward to seeing all these other players making absurd amounts of money. It's weird to see how far the league has come in terms of revenue, how much they're generating, and just how much they're paying their athletes. Right now, Tatum is still under his contract, and he's under this contract up until 2026 offseason. So up until then, he's going to be making $32 million a year. But imagine when Jason Tatum becomes a free agent. That's when the trade talks come in. That's when the negotiations come in. And if Jaylen Brown is making $60 million right now a year for 5 years, I'm just trying to imagine what they would pay Jason Tatum. I mean, would it be in the 60s? Would it be in the 70s? It's hard to even guess at this point because the NBA just keeps raising the bar. I think Tatum should be paid more. He is the number one option. He is their best player by far, and he needs to be compensated. And if they're going around paying the number two this much, then the number one needs to make more. That's what logic would tell you. Just a little off topic, but I also wonder how other players feel in the NBA. Right now when you have a regular day job like you and me, discussing pay isn't something we normally do. So you don't know if your best friend in the department next door, you don't know how much he or she's making. And even if they're making more than you, it might be a little bit more, 5-10% more or whatever. That's easy to kind of digest. But when it comes to like professional sports, these contracts are just out in the open. And so you could have a player signed to like the veterans minimum or even less, maybe if they're like undrafted or something, and they might even be making less than $1 million or maybe just $1 million a year. And then imagine just working out casually next to somebody making 60 times what you make every year. That's absurd. And I just wonder like how NBA locker rooms are. I guess any professional sport. I wonder how the locker room talk is. I wonder if there's people that hold resentment. I wonder if team chemistry and team bonding is affected by this. I wonder if other players feel less appreciated. I wonder if people come in with an attitude, when they're working out, when they're talking to their trainers. I wonder if there's back talk. I really do wonder these things. And these things are what, teams are going to keep it private, obviously, because they want to kind of push that image out that, hey, we're one team, we're one family, everybody gets along. But that can't always be the case. I'm not saying everybody deserves to make 60 million, but there has to be a few people in that locker room thinking like, damn, he can't dribble and he made that much. Where's my paycheck? And people are going to be wanting to make money too. But either way, I'm happy for him. He is a good player. And he shows up when it counts. Not all the time. I think he had a few moments last season, last playoffs, where he kind of cost the game. He was the reason for a few of Boston's losses. But he is still a good player. And it's good to see that the Celtics see his potential. They've seen him get better year over year, and they're kind of wanting to invest in him. It's clear that they want to keep him in Boston. And I would hope that they want to keep Tatum too. I hope that they want to keep those two together and build around them too. I think these two players, if they continue to get better, I definitely see them winning a title. They get so far in the playoffs every year. They compete. No team gets easy wins over them. And maybe if they had a solid third or a center that was just dominating, or I'm not exactly sure what the missing piece is, but if they keep getting better and if they get that missing piece from somewhere, I see this team doing really well for many years to come. So let's hope that it's a good season for him. Let's hope it's a good season for Boston. And I just can't wait for this next season to start. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think about this contract. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.